on the subway train heading out to Queens Center. I have a lot of, not quite last minute, but I have holiday shopping to do. I've got an adorable 2-year-old granddaughter, so it's a lot more fun to shop. I can take the subway wherever we need to go. And I want all New Yorkers to feel safe, which is why we've added so many more National Guard, over 250 more people that'll make sure that your ride is as safe as it can be.
Meanwhile.
And developing tonight, we now know the identity of the woman who was burned to death on the subway earlier this month. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso joins us live from Toms River, New Jersey, where police say she once lived. Jess.
Natasha, that's right. The victim, 57-year-old Debrina Kwam. Police tell us that it was here in Toms River where she last lived in this senior living community. Now, as expected, neighbors shocked to hear that she was the victim of that senseless act of violence, the homeless woman who was burned alive in a subway car in Coney Island last Sunday morning. Now, we knocked on a door and a woman answered. She told us that she bought this home in April, and in May, she says a woman by the name of Debrina rang her doorbell looking for her mother. She told her she was the new owner, but she could take down her information. The woman, Debrina, she says, told her that she didn't have a phone. It was about a 15-minute conversation. And then she says she hopped back in the cab and left. You're about to hear from her and also a neighbor who did not want her face on TV.
She looked clean. She did not look sick or hungry or anything like that. She just stopped by. All in my mind was family didn't tell her that they were moving. Very devastating that something like that would happen. But even more that this is happening today, you know?
If that was that woman, I can't understand how she ended up in the subway in the circumstances she was in.
All right, guys. So once again, unfortunately, we have to talk about what is another devastating, tragic story on this New Year's Day, okay? Because the news for this New Year's Day may be the worst news that we've had on New Year's in a long, long, long time, okay? And if today is any indication of how the rest of this year may play out, it's not looking good. But I'm hoping that maybe this is the worst day of 2025 when it comes to bad news. But regardless, we got to talk about this story out of New York involving the New York City subway system and just how dangerous it is to take public transportation in these liberal cities. Okay, you could quite literally lose your life in the New York City subway any given day. Okay, because some lunatic down there may try to hurt you, right? May try to murder you randomly, okay? That's the scariest part about it. This stuff is happening randomly. We just talked about the illegal immigrant who got arrested for setting a random woman on fire as she was sleeping in the subway, which became a national news story because of just how heinous that crime was, right? The fact that we have American citizens being torched alive by illegal immigrants on public transit systems. Again, one of the most disturbing videos I've ever seen in my life. But what's even more disturbing than the crime itself is the fact that the liberal media has not given attention to the migrant crisis that has affected these liberal cities. Okay, all of the chaos and destruction as a result of massive illegal immigration in these liberal cities has not been thoroughly covered by the media. Okay, it is a damn shame that it takes a woman getting set on fire, getting torched to death alive. That's what it takes in order for one of these stories about these illegal immigrants committing crimes and causing chaos and destruction to get national news attention. Now, in this situation, in this story involving this illegal immigrant setting this woman on fire, we now have the identity of the victim, Miss Debrina Kwam. And notice how the mainstream liberal media has stopped talking about the victim, right? Almost as if the victim's life didn't really matter that much. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this story is a story about an illegal immigrant coming to the country and committing a crime in the subway system, which goes against multiple Democrat Party and liberal media talking points. Like, for example, the talking point that crime is down. When no, crime is up in all of these liberal cities, okay? It goes against this narrative that, illegal immigrants don't commit crimes. They actually commit less crimes than U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens are more dangerous than illegals, right? This is what they say. But it turns out that technically every illegal immigrant is a criminal because crossing the border legally is a crime. Also, it goes against this idea that the illegal immigration issue is not a problem, right? There's no mass immigration into the country, okay? Biden's not just letting in gang members and criminals and thugs, and they aren't wreaking havoc in these liberal cities. This is a narrative that has come from the Democrats and the liberal media. So I find it to be fascinating how they're no longer talking about this story. And when it comes to the victim, she's totally forgotten. Has anybody seen this woman's face on CNN or MSNBC or any of these other national major news channels? Probably not. Probably not. But we all know that if this woman was, for example, a homeless person who just happened to be black and also has a long rap sheet of committing violent crimes against individuals, including women, and it just so happens that this individual is apprehended by a white male on the subway after the individual was being threatening to other passengers, and the individual died in the process of being apprehended and subdued by a white male, okay, who arguably was saving the lives of the innocent passengers on the subway, because you have crazy people in the subways who tend to hurt others, right? It happens quite a bit, okay? So you can't take any chances. If this woman, again, was black and homeless and she lost her life in those circumstances, you would see her face plastered everywhere, okay? You would see this face right here, right? You would see these old photos. This is her high school photo. Beautiful woman. You would see this everywhere because that's typically how they show those types of individuals, right? If you're a criminal, you know, they will show you in the best light if you happen to lose your life in circumstances that are very profitable to the mainstream liberal media, okay? They will glorify you. But if you are a law-abiding citizen, a woman, and you're white, and you just so happen to get burned alive by a legal immigrant, they're not going to show your face anywhere. In fact, they're going to make sure they bury your identity and that nobody knows who you are, what you look like, simply because it doesn't fit the narrative. It's not something they can really make money off of. That's not the narrative. That's not the story that they want to push on their viewers, right? They don't want to tell them the truth, which is that if you are a woman and you look like this, right, and you're white, you should be much more concerned about illegal immigration than other issues like, for example, abortion, right? I'm just saying, right? That's the last thing that the media wants, right? They don't want the so-called suburban mom, okay, the suburban woman to see illegal immigration as the issue that it actually is. They don't want that. This is why you're not going to see this woman's face plastered everywhere, because if you did, that may red pill too many white women on this issue. So again, you know, I'm just pointing out the fact that I highly doubt the media will be showing this woman's face everywhere, okay, and bringing attention to what happened to her and why this happened as a result of the Biden administration, in the same way that they would if this woman had fit the narrative, right? If this story had fit the narrative, and this is something they felt like they can make money off of, and it make Democrats look good and make Republicans look bad, and they can play the race card, yeah, they 100% would have the victim's face everywhere, right? So with that being said, we have to talk about another heinous crime that has been committed in the New York City subways. Again, remember, crime is down according to Democrats, okay? Crime is not up. That is your imagination. But we have lunatics in the New York City subways who are just randomly pushing people into subway tracks. Now, we've covered stories like this before, but this story comes after the illegal immigrant set this woman on fire, burned her alive in the subway system. Then we have a man that attempted to murder another man. And again, this is random, just pushing them into the subway tracks. But according to Hochul, the subways are safe.
To have some big news today. First, a horrific scene on the New York City subway. The video difficult to watch. A man injured after he was out of nowhere, shoved in front of an oncoming train in Chelsea. The suspect quickly captured by police and just charged with attempted murder. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon has the story.
The chilling video obtained by Eyewitness News shows a man standing close to the edge of the platform behind a couple of ferry evaders and another man approaching and casually shoving him in front of a 1 train just after 1:30 this afternoon at 18th Street. First responders would go between the stopped subway cars to rescue the 45-year-old victim and take him to Bellue Hospital. Sources tell us he is a New York City resident and is in stable condition tonight. Less than an hour after the attack, a suspect was in custody, identified as 23-year-old Kamel Hawkins of Brooklyn. Tonight, riders on the same Chelsea platform headed to their New Year's Eve destinations are calling the attack brutal and scary.
I'm ready to go back home. I'm ready to go back home. I came here for a good time, and I'm scared that things like this might happen to me.
They want to hike fares up and they want to do certain things, but they can't even keep the people of New York City protected. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sad.
New Yorkers must feel safe.
Today, the mayor defended his efforts to get people off the subway system who are sleeping or seem like they need mental health services. He pointed to lower crime on the subway in 2024 and declines overall since 2009, but admits the perception just doesn't match the reality.
People don't want to hear that. They said someone just got burned, Eric. If someone is shoved to the subway system on the tracks, people are seeing and feeling what they're reading. So our success is overshadowed.
So here's the thing. This is what really blows my mind about these liberals running these cities, right? Instead of just acknowledging the reality, which obviously has to be that crime is up, right? And that your numbers are wrong, because that has to be what it is, right? Because you cannot say that crime is down, but yet people feel like crime is up. Why is that? Why is there a disconnect? Why is there a disconnect? That's the question that people should be asking. Are the people stupid? Or are the numbers incorrect? I think the numbers are incorrect. But see, these people never question the numbers. Because if crime was down, like they say, then I don't think people would feel so unsafe. They wouldn't feel like crime is so bad. Clearly, crime is being underreported or undercounted. Something's off. So Democrats can keep talking about, well, the numbers say this and the numbers say that. People don't believe the numbers. I'm sorry, right? Like Eric Adams acknowledged, people don't want to hear that. You're not doing a good job. Otherwise, you would need the National Guard in the subway system. Like, come on now. Crime is down, but we need the National Guard. Okay. Again, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And again, you keep getting random stories like this. This hoodlum right here decided it would be a good idea to push a random man into the subway tracks. Basically tried to kill the guy. For what reason, nobody knows. Again, the scary part about it, random, totally random. Just like the illegal immigrant. Which would suggest that these people are mentally unstable. So you have a bunch of mentally unstable people walking around New York City committing these types of violent acts. At some point, right, as a society, we got to make a choice, because this is how I try to explain policy to leftists, okay? Because leftists want to live in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, right? They want to live in La La Land, where there are no trade-offs and there's solutions. But there's no solutions. There's always pros and there's always cons, okay? To every solution that you present to a problem, there are going to be pros and cons. In the case of the homelessness issue that is going on in these liberal cities like New York, okay, these mentally unstable people walking around, they need to be involuntarily locked up. I mean, we already know that these liberal cities can facilitate these things because they did it for the illegal immigrants. But what they actually need to do is take these same facilities that they use to house the illegals and get some of these mentally unstable homeless people off the streets. Like, no, you cannot live on the streets. Like, it's illegal to live on the streets. You can't live on the streets. You just can't. You have to go live in this facility until you're straight enough to get a job, right? And to support yourself. But until then, no, you can't just live on the streets. And they can't have any other option. It has to be forced. And yes, I know some people say, oh, that's inhumane. You can't just force people into a home or whatever. Yes, you can. Okay? Yes, you can. And the trade-offs, in my opinion, are worth it. You get homeless, mentally unstable people off the streets. People can safely use subways. They can safely participate in commerce. And that ultimately is a net positive to society. Okay. And that extra money that's being spent because of the safety will result in more tax revenue. The city can take that tax revenue and help out the homeless people who were forced off the streets, okay, to try to get them some help. But there are some people that you just can't help. Let's be honest. There's some people that just cannot be helped. And those are people that you have to find solutions for as well, too. They just may need to be permanently taken off the streets. It is what it is, okay? It's against their freedom. Well, hey, at the end of the day, we're doing what's best overall for society, okay? And for people who are mentally stable enough to be positive contributors to society. That is my solution. You have to involuntarily get these people off the streets, okay? And if they got an issue with it, then they need to straighten up. Their family needs to come and get them off the street. I don't know. Somebody needs to do something if they don't want these homeless people to be involuntarily housed. Now, when it comes to this specific lunatic right here, I have no clue if that's his problem. But he looks like the typical young scholar. If I had to bet, probably a single parent household, no father, mother in the home, single baby mama, maybe a part of a gang. Who knows? Maybe has some anger issues. Regardless, this individual, I think, should be locked up for life with no parole whatsoever because this man is dangerous. This dude randomly pushed a man into the subway tracks. I mean, it seems as if the man got ran over by the subway. I mean, he got injured. He's in the hospital. So if that is the case, then that means this individual at any point in time could snap and just try to kill somebody. If this was a random attack, you can't have people like this running around on the streets. Okay, we caught it on camera. We know he did it. He doesn't get another chance, right? Individuals like this should not get another chance. No, you've already shown us what you're capable of. You've shown us what you're capable of. We can't chance it. We can't chance it. So this guy should be locked up. They should throw away the key. He should never see the light of day again.
Lead to arrests like they did tonight also make those disturbing crimes more visible to more people.
I actually still feel relatively safe. You know, it's a big city and there's a lot of subway stations and a lot of people commuting. But yeah, it's still really scary when you see it on video like that so clearly.
Kamel Hawkins was quickly apprehended and held here at 59th Street thanks to transit cops looking for the person in that video. He is charged tonight with attempted murder and assault as a felony. Police believe this was random. They say he did not know the victim and said nothing to him before pushing him in front of that train. In Columbus Circle, Sonia Rincon, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Yeah, so let me show you guys what we're dealing with here. The type of individuals that are roaming the New York City subway. This guy, in particular, has a history of stalking women. For example, a Brooklyn woman who was mercilessly stalked by deranged subway shooting suspect Kamel Hawkins said he terrified her for weeks and is grateful she wasn't the one who he eventually put in the hospital. Quote, "It could have been me," said the woman, who asked not to be identified, told the Post Wednesday, quote, "People always say that you gotta read the red flags, and I'm glad I did." Quote, "It's sad," she added, "I don't wish nothing bad for him. He could have finished school and become an IT tech. He could have left the project. He could have changed his own story." Yeah, right, sure. He could have became an astronaut, right? Clearly, this woman seems to have some liberal leanings because she's naive about the world. I am sorry, but this individual is not becoming an astronaut, okay? There are some people in this world where, again, there's no hope, okay? When you talk about an individual who will randomly push people into the subway, try to murder somebody in one of the most deranged ways possible, okay? You talk about pushing somebody into a train, a speeding train, crushing them. This is not somebody that you can save, right? This person can't be saved. The only thing you can do with a person like this, once he's shown that he is capable and willing to do these things, is to lock them up and throw away the key. That's the only thing that you can do, because it's too risky to give individuals like this another chance. I know it sounds so terrible. It sounds horrible. But I'm telling you, this is the best outcome for society as a whole. When individuals show that they're capable of doing things like that randomly, which indicates that, again, there's some issues going on upstairs. The only thing that you can do is to keep them as far away from society as possible, because there's a chance that they could do it again. And if they do it again, then you're talking about somebody losing their life, which you can't bring back. You can't bring back somebody's life when they lose it to an individual like this. People may think that what I'm saying is harsh, but honestly, I think that's what's best for society, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm all about maximizing what's best for society, for law-abiding citizens, for people who are positive contributors. That's what I care about most. Okay, so yeah, this guy was previously facing assault and harassment charges in Brooklyn before he shoved this individual into the subway, in which he miraculously survived despite a skull fracture, broken ribs, and a ruptured spleen. So probably in incredible pain caused by this one individual. And yeah, he should be locked up and he should never see the light of day again. But stories like this really tell you how bad it is to be a citizen in New York and having to take the subway, considering how these individuals are walking around everywhere, apparently. And the worst part about it is that Democrats are gaslighting you and trying to tell you, no, that's not a problem. That's a right-wing conspiracy. Is made up. The subways are safe. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.